Don't listen to the noise. Just stay focused. Our commander-in-chief is steady at the wheel. We face a determined enemy, but you are better. But we must prove it every single day. History doesn't care if we're tired, if we're scared, or if the fight feels big. It demands warriors who rise anyway.
At 05:30 local time along the strategic Iranian coastline of the Strait of Hormuz, the 1st Brigade Combat Team of the US 1st Infantry Division, the Big Red One, launched a massive ground assault that shattered Iran's heavily fortified Hormuz defense line. At the same time, US Navy warships in the strait were ordered to hunt down and destroy every IRGC mine-laying ship still active. Operation Iron Tide had begun, and Iran's last physical barrier controlling the world's most critical choke point was about to be wiped out. On the decks of amphibious assault ships and staging areas just south of the strait, thousands of 1st Infantry soldiers prepared with disciplined intensity. Troops cinched tight their plate carriers, loaded with extra magazines for M4 carbines and M249 SAW machine guns. Squad leaders checked breaching charges, Javelin anti-tank missiles, and heavy mortar rounds. Bradley fighting vehicles and M1A2 Abrams tanks rumbled aboard landing craft, their crews running final systems checks. Artillery batteries loaded 155mm shells, while engineers prepped mine-clearing line charges and obstacle-breaching equipment. Every soldier knew the mission: smash through the coastal bunkers, missile sites, and trench lines that Iran had spent years building to close the Hormuz. No one spoke much. The Big Red One was ready to bring overwhelming American ground power ashore. At 05:45, the assault launched. Landing craft air-cushioned LCACs, and traditional landing ships roared toward the Iranian beaches under the cover of darkness. Overhead, AH-64 Apache helicopters and F-35Bs from the nearby USS Tripoli provided close air support. The moment the first waves hit the shore, the 1st Infantry swarmed forward like a steel tide. Bradley vehicles raced up the beach, cannons blazing, while infantry squads poured out and pushed inland. Abrams tanks crested the dunes, their 120mm main guns destroying Iranian bunkers and T-72 tanks before they could fully react. Iranian defenders opened up with machine guns, RPGs, and anti-tank missiles from hardened positions, but the sheer volume of American fire supported by naval gunfire from destroyers offshore overwhelmed them in minutes. Explosions lit the coastline as the Big Red One systematically rolled up the defense line, clearing trench after trench, bunker after bunker. Further out in the strait, US Navy surface action groups received direct orders: locate and sink every IRGC mine-laying vessel before they could seed the narrow waters with thousands of mines. Arleigh Burke-class destroyers and littoral combat ships lit up their radars and moved in fast. When Iranian mine layers were spotted trying to slip out of protected coves, the Navy struck without mercy. Tomahawk cruise missiles and Harpoon anti-ship missiles streaked from the ships, slamming into the IRGC vessels and turning them into blazing wrecks. One mine layer attempted to launch its deadly cargo, but was caught mid-operation by a salvo of 5-inch naval gunfire that ripped it apart. Helicopter-launched Hellfire missiles from MH-60R Seahawks finished off any survivors trying to flee. Within 30 minutes, every known IRGC mine-laying ship in the area was burning or sinking, their deadly payloads never reaching the shipping lanes. On the beach, the fight remained savage but one-sided. Iranian Revolutionary Guard units counterattacked with suicide drones and swarms of small boats, but the 1st Infantry held firm. Javelin teams destroyed advancing armored vehicles at long range, while mortar crews walked accurate fire onto enemy concentrations. Apache helicopters hovered overhead, their 30mm chain guns and rockets shredding any reinforcement trying to reach the defense line. By 07:10, the last major bunker complex fell. The once impregnable Hormuz defense line, a network of coastal missile sites, artillery positions, and fortified trenches meant to seal the strait, lay in smoking ruins under the control of the Big Red One. As the sun rose higher, the 1st Infantry began consolidating their hard-won positions. Engineers cleared remaining obstacles, while follow-on forces poured ashore to secure the coastline. Offshore, the Navy continued sweeping for any surviving mine layers, ensuring the strait remained open and deadly to anyone who tried to close it again. By 0845, the mission was effectively complete. The Hormuz defense line had been completely destroyed. Iranian coastal defenses that had threatened global oil flow for years were gone. Every IRGC mine-laying ship capable of endangering international shipping had been sent to the bottom. The 1st US Infantry Division had swarmed the shore with overwhelming power, while the Navy delivered precise destruction from the sea. The Strait of Hormuz, the lifeline of the global economy, was now firmly under American dominance. Iran's ability to physically block or mine the waterway had been shattered in a single morning. The Big Red One had planted the American flag on Iranian soil, and the message to Tehran was unmistakable. Any further attempt to threaten the strait would be met with the full, unstoppable force of the United States Army and Navy. Operation Iron Tide was a complete success. The Hormuz belonged to those strong enough to take it, and America had just taken it by storm.